there's always going to be evaluation in the off season, and obviously my job is evaluated as well. But I fully expect to be the coach next season, and I welcome that opportunity to get things right and get things fixed, and take this team into next season.
All right, we have two more to add to the crew now. NFL reporter Kimberly Martin, also NFL analyst Jeff Saturday. And everybody, you just heard Doug Pederson say he is fully confident he is the man for the job in Philly. But Dominique, do you think that Pederson should be fully confident in returning to the team?
He absolutely should be. If he's not, who's going to be? I think that oftentimes you're looking for an excuse or a scapegoat, I guess, for the season and for them underachieving the last couple of seasons. And it's it's easy to find a scapegoat when you want to point at the coach. It's easy to point at the GM. But right now, it seems like Carson Wentz has given everybody a get-out-of-jail-free pass because they went from Carson Wentz to Jalen Hurts. And while they aren't Super Bowl contenders, they seem to be much better. It seems to be very clear that Doug Pederson didn't forget how to coach because he seems to be coaching well with Carson Wentz. It seems that the guy who was the problem, or at least I know it's not just one person that's the problem, but he has given everyone else a pass. They can all point to him and say the issue was Carson Wentz wasn't playing well. When we moved on from Carson Wentz, we all got better. I know it's not fair, but that's how it works. And I think Doug Pederson is in a position where he should be confident. And I know the Super Bowl was a long time ago, but there are very few head coaches in the NFL that have won a Super Bowl at all, let alone in the last 5 years.
Well, Carson Wentz hasn't given everyone a get-out-of-jail-free pass, or his failure, rather, Dominique, because the GM of this football team literally just signed him to a massive contract. So I'd say his failure is an indictment on Howie Roseman, who appears to be staying in Philadelphia by all accounts. I think that that's a slip of the tongue, because what I was about to say is I think Doug Pederson should keep his job because I think Jalen Hurts should be the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles next year. If Carson Wentz is the quarterback, Doug Pederson has to be gone. It has become widely apparent that for whatever reason, they are not good together. Pederson isn't good at coaching him. I've been actually very impressed by what Pederson has done with Hurts. The offense, since Hurts has come in, it's not just been, hey, go play ball, run around. He's given him simple reads, cut the field in half. I think he's done a good job integrating some of the college principles. Obviously, there's been mixed success. He's a rookie, but Pederson's done a nice job with him. If I'm Philadelphia, I look to trade Wentz, take the pain now, get out of that contract, stick with Pederson and Hurts, and see what you've got going forward.
So I'm not saying Doug Pederson should not have a job, right? My question is the fact that he's so confident, given how this team has looked. I heard those comments and I thought, did someone tell Doug Pederson that he will be back next year? Because given the way the season has gone, if I were him, I wouldn't be confident, because this is a win now league. Because every week you're judged by how you play, how your players play, how you coach. And for a long time, he was saying, well, Carson isn't the only issue here. Carson didn't do as bad as people are saying. And now all of a sudden we're ready to throw and say Carson Wentz is the clear issue with this team. And Doug Pederson finally has been rescued by Jalen Hurts. Listen, I was the pool reporter for that Eagles team that won the Super Bowl. That was 3 years ago. That was 2 jobs ago for me. That was a long time ago. Like, I understand he won a Super Bowl, but we keep talking about it like it was last year. This is a different squad. And Frank Reich deserves a lot of credit for that offense and how Carson Wentz was playing. And so the fact that Reich isn't here and now we're seeing that Carson hasn't looked the same, is that an indictment on Doug Pederson? He's the head coach. Is Sam Darnold not an indictment on Adam Gase? It's not just one or the other. I think all these things are connected. Jeff, I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, listen, from Doug Pederson's perspective, I would be very confident in my job as well. I mean, we like to take snapshots of this season in particular. Well, if you want to take a full snapshot, right, you have an offensive line, that aged very quickly, right? Life comes at you fast and injury prone. Yeah. So now you went to a decimated offensive line. Your quarterback, who, by the way, your organization, not just the head coach, but your organization, Roseman, Lurie, everybody bought into Carson Wentz. We're going to pay him $100 million. Now you've set this coach and said, hey, we want to play this guy and exhaust every opportunity for him to turn it around and play, which every organization in the NFL would do. They gave him as much as they could give him. Finally, they just realized, look, Hurts is going to give us a better opportunity to win now. Let's see if we can get this done. So they went to Hurts. No one expected him to come out, beat the Saints, have a good performance, right? I know he had a tougher day last Sunday with the turnovers, but the kind of the fire that he ignited in this football team is the spark they were looking for. But to put everything on Pederson. By the way, look at last year, right? Like they were dead in the water. They end up winning, what was it, 4 games at the end of the year, getting to the playoffs. It's not just a coaching issue. And I'm not trying to give Doug Pederson a pass, but what I would say is I would not put him out and just say, hey, this is a Doug Pederson issue. Again, everybody agreed that Wentz was their future. When the future looked very bleak, everybody bailed on him. It's, hey, man, Doug Pederson, now you're saddled with him, right? We're all going to sit in the owners' boxes. We're going to kind of be absolved of this decision-making. But we all know that's not the way the NFL works. So has Pederson done a masterful job? No, not this year. Right. But to lose his job, I just think that we're taking a snapshot, and it's a bit unfair.
Right. He should be confident. And I want to go back to something that Mina said. It's interesting who you credit and who you kind of blame in this situation. So kind of you said it's an indictment on Roseman for signing Wentz. But it seemed like to me, at least throughout this season, that Pederson wanted to stick with Wentz longer than others did. Like Roseman's also the one who drafted Hurts. So it's a weird menagerie of issues going on there. I'm not sure who to pin it on and who to blame, but everyone's always looking for someone to blame. And I think right now they have the easy excuse, and you might be right. Maybe they all can't come back next year. Maybe something has to change, and if it's one person, I think it's the quarterback.
I mean, Dominique, you know that when it comes to quarterbacks, draft status matters, money matters, and the head coach is far from the only person who has a voice. We were just talking about the Washington football team. We'll get to that. But I'll say this about Doug Pederson and what we've seen out of this team. Jeff, you're absolutely right. They've got fight, man. Watch the Dallas Cowboys at times this season if you want to see a team that's not trying. Those players are fighting for him. And when I watched the Eagles on Sunday lose, look, they're decimated by injuries, but if I had to single out a coach who was at fault, Jim Schwartz, what are you doing? Like, there's a cornerback out there whose name I did not know before that football game, manned up against Michael Gallup. I know you like to play man, but you're going to leave that poor kid out on an island. He got sacrificed. And I like Jim Schwartz. He's done a good job over the course of his career, but at times this season, I feel like his rigidity has been a problem for that team. I know the injuries are a factor, so if I'm looking to next year, thinking about things that need to change, that's where I would be looking, not at the head coach.
Jeffrey, what do you think?
Okay, we'll wrap up that, but Jeff, you have anything left you want to say on that?
No, I would just say I kind of lost a bit in my ear, but I would kind of say that from the Eagles' perspective, like if Jeffrey Lurie's going to make a move, you better know who you're moving to, right? Like when you got rid of Andy Reid and he got recycled, he goes to the Chiefs. Now they win Super Bowls. They're up again. You go, you bring in a college coach, and you think, well, can Chip Kelly get this done? Like you better know that you're armed and ready for whoever is going to replace this head coach. Any of those conversations, it is what do we really have, and make sure that you can get the right guy, the right fit, whether it's Wentz or Hurts or however you're going to decide to design this football team. When you get down to brass tacks, the head coaching job of an organization is going to be a whole lot more based on the fit of the team and the guy, right? Like it takes time if he's going to change systems to get the right personnel, to get all those things in. I just think it would be a baby in the bathwater situation to make a full-on wholesale change at this point.
That's a really interesting point. All right, well, let's move on from here, but we are going to stay in the NFC East. We're going to talk about Washington, whose quarterback